We'll begin this hour with a big development in the race for president here in the United States, where former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama have officially endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris for president. Here's a video released by the Harris campaign showing the moment that the Obamas called the vice president to offer their full support.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
Oh, hi, you're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh, my goodness. Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me. I am looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this, too, aren't we?
Jen Palmieri, no surprise here. This was, of course, part of a coordinated rollout of endorsements, though there had been some chatter on the right, nonsensical, that the Obamas were having doubts about the vice president. That could not be further from the truth. So, no surprise, but still important. Tell us what you think this means.
Well, I think one thing that's important about it is that Mrs. Obama was on the call, right? And that the president said that they're both going to do everything they can because she just, politics is her husband's thing, and she's a phenomenally effective campaigner. But it doesn't necessarily look for opportunity to spend a lot of time campaigning. But I think for her to be on the call too says how important it is to her and that she wants to help as well. And the two of them are just such a major force. And they are longtime friends. And I think President Obama had stepped back from endorsing as other party leaders had to sort of give their room to be a process for somebody else to get in the race if they wanted to, but also to show that this is a real, legitimate nominating process. And now you're at the point where both of the Obamas are fully able to express being on board and wanting to campaign for her, and that's going to be a huge help.
Yeah, and Sam Stein, I think also the Obamas wanted to give room to President Joe Biden. He, of course, a friend, and yes, the Obamas behind the scenes certainly had concerns about his ability to win, but after Biden dropped out, they wanted to give him a little more space. And we also shouldn't lose sight of the history here, Sam, where this is the nation's first black president endorsing the woman who could be the second.
Oh, yeah, completely. I think that is getting a little bit lost amid what has been a very dramatic, to put it bluntly, 4-week process here. Is that history is being made. This is going to be the first nomination of a black female candidate for president in our nation's history. I'm also struck by just, and Eugene, I'm kind of curious for your take on this. The convention in 3 weeks is going to, for months and months and months, we were expecting it would be a dreadful affair, potentially filled with protests, shades of 1968. It's shaping up to be something quite different. And I couldn't help but make the contrast. I was in Milwaukee. The lineup was interesting. The lead-up speakers included Hulk Hogan, Dana White. On Thursday night at the Democratic Convention, you could potentially see the sitting president of the United States being the warm-up act for the vice president to take a historic victory lap as the presidential candidate. Talk about just what that convention will be like, how star-studded it will be, and just the contrast between that convention and what was the Milwaukee convention for Republicans.
Well, I think the Democratic Convention this time is going to be the party of the year. I mean, can you imagine? They'll do a whole lot better than Hulk Hogan and Kid Rock. Let me put it that way. I mean, I can imagine the stars who will come out. I can imagine the production values. I can just imagine, and the delegates. Just the general sense there is, as you know, as everybody knows, just objectively, this incredible feeling of energy within the Democratic Party right now that certainly wasn't there a week ago, and it is, it's on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 12 right now, and who knows where it will be when they get to the convention. So I think this is going to be a dramatic contrast, given, as Republicans look back on their convention, you already have the kind of questions about J.D. Vance and was he really the right guy? Their candidate, Donald Trump, is clearly in a sour mood and kind of doesn't know exactly where to go and what to say, how to try to attack all of this. And most important of all, the convention, once again, will keep Trump out of the headlines, right? He has been doing whatever he could to get the spotlight, but it's not on him. It's off of him. It's on Kamala Harris and the Democrats, and that has to be driving Donald Trump crazy.
One note about the Democratic Convention, they still should expect probably widespread protests about the situation in Gaza based on what we just saw in Washington this week. But you're right, certainly inside the arena, it's going to be celebratory. And a number of Democrats the last couple of days who have told me, imagine the thunderous ovation President Biden is going to get now after making that decision to step aside, that it will be a remarkable homecoming for him. But let's